Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Shamrock Foods Kitchen Conversations, where we talk to Shamrock partners just like you about how they approach the hospitality business, stay on top of trends, and manage their successful restaurants. Today, we're brought to you by MarkOn. MarkOn brings a fresh approach and fresh thinking to all of their premium farm-to-table produce and can bring the freshest ideas to your customers. I'm your host, Jeff Pivin, Business Solutions Consultant for Shamrock Foods, and I'm joined today with Shamrock Foods partner, Chef Steven Topple, who has a few different concepts, very different concepts actually, in the McCall, Idaho area, and I'm excited to talk about that. Good afternoon, Chef. How are you?
Hi, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thanks. Thanks for joining us today. Now, out to the audience, we invite everyone to come in and participate in the conversation by commenting just below the stream. We'll be able to see your questions, comments, support, heckles, whatever you guys want to put into the box, and we will address it here live on the show. So any concerns out there, let's hear them because we're ready to talk to them, and we've got a very talented chef on the line, so take advantage of it. So, Steven, tell us a bit about your background. Tell us about your chef background and how you got into food service.
Yeah, absolutely. So, gosh, I've been cooking for about 26 years now. Originally from Portsmouth in England. I've been over here in the United States for about 24 years now. Just absolutely love it. You know, I went for a professional culinary training, and then I went to London, Scotland. Then I came across to New York and worked in upstate New York and Lake Placid. Just a beautiful area where I kind of fell in love with ski resorts and small towns. Really enjoy that idea of small towns and the small communities and so on. And then from there, I went down to Georgia, worked in Sea Island, Georgia, just a beautiful place. Then went to Wolfgang Puck in San Francisco, worked at Postrio. So I had a really big city experience, you know, and they say working in London and working in New York and San Francisco is really fun, you know, to see lots of different experiences and so on, you know, and I've certainly worked in many different kitchens, and everywhere you work, you kind of gain that experience. And so anyway, from San Francisco, no, it was an amazing experience for sure. Really fun, and very busy restaurant, probably 350 covers a day, you know, so at night each service for lunch and for dinner. So it was definitely a really busy operation for sure. And then from there, I went to Colorado and worked in Vail, Colorado. That's where I became familiar with Shamrock Foods. You know, Shamrock is really huge in Colorado. It's definitely in Vail, Colorado is where I was, up in the mountains, just beautiful restaurants on top of the mountains in Beaver Creek and in Vail. Just beautiful places.
That's awesome. And you mentioned, I think on our call, that you had won an award in Vail at that restaurant, didn't you?
Yes, yeah, we actually got our 4 Diamond Award, which was really incredible, and the same Beano's Cabin in Beaver Creek as well. Same thing there. We managed to get our 4 Diamond Award, and you know, we were certainly working towards our 5 Diamond Award. And then I decided to move to Idaho and move to McCall, Idaho, and just fell in love with Idaho. It's just such a beautiful place, you know.
I hear it's beautiful. I haven't been able to get up there. Idaho is new to Shamrock, or Shamrock is new to Idaho.
Right, exactly.
So
yeah.
I'm going to have to get a chance to get up there. Wolfgang Puck, who else are some of your inspirations out there?
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I love a lot of the celebrity chefs. You know, you always try to follow them. They, you know, it's an inspiration. But you know, definitely Gordon Ramsay for sure. He's somebody I look up to a lot. I know he beats down a lot of his employees and stuff like that. But it's you know, but it's he builds them back up again. And I think that's a really, if you watch, you know, how his progression is, it's like he goes into places and fixes them, and you know, he knocks them down but brings them back up and shows them how to do things. And you know, it's definitely a role model for me as far as that goes. You know, it's the making sure everything is perfect every time. You know, it's that's what it's all about for me, is the consistency, you know.
Right. And you know, there's actually been a softer side to Gordon in these past couple years, I think, and he's got a new show where he traveled up and down the California coast. I don't know if you caught that show, but it was awesome.
Yeah, yeah, it was really fun. He's a great guy, and he's really into travel, and very similar to what I am. I love when I get a chance to take a vacation. I love to go to all around Europe and stuff. Go to Portugal, go to Spain and Italy and stuff like that. It's just really fun. It's inspirational to go see different places and land yourself somewhere where where you don't know the language and you don't know the food, and it's just like you just learn while you're there.
Travel and learn. And we hear it. I
Yeah.
hear that as a common thread of every successful chef that we talk to, like yourself, always talking about traveling around and trying out different foods, and then they pluck out little ideas from each of the cuisines or each of the regions that they visit, and then they roll it all into the cuisine that they're currently working in. And I can tell that from the wide eclectic cuisines that you've got, and you've got varying menus as well. So, having that depth of resource is definitely something you can pull from. Now let's talk about the restaurants that you have up there around McCall, Caldwell, and Donnelly. Can you tell me about, you've got 3, right?
Yeah, so we actually have 4 total, but I'm a
Oh,
partner
okay.
with Devin Greenman. He's my partner with at the Blue Moose, which is a drive-through restaurant in McCall. Absolutely amazing restaurant. We make gourmet burgers, from buffalo, elk, venison, lamb burgers. All sorts of really fun things. And it's a true drive-through restaurant. You can sit down or and eat inside on the patio. But the other 3 restaurants are all my restaurants, independent restaurants. So I started off with my first restaurant in Donnelly, Idaho, in 2018, and it was a really small, cute Italian restaurant, 45 seats inside. So it's very, very small, very intimate. You get to know everybody really well, or all your staff, particularly because it's such a small space, right?
Well,
And then all your customers. But we've actually built like a really, really good customer base, where people come in and see us weekly, which is super fantastic, and during the pandemic, a lot of them supported me and really did a lot of takeout orders and things like that, as a lot of other restaurants did. We really had that great support, which was fantastic.
right.
And then from there, I opened up another restaurant in McCall, Idaho, which is Ragazza de Lago, which is right on the lake, and that's a Mediterranean style restaurant. So I have 2 Italian restaurants and 1 Mediterranean restaurant and a burger restaurant. So really, really fun. Lots of different spectrums. You get to play with crazy amounts of different foods. And they're definitely very interesting and challenging.
Yeah, for sure. And quite a wide swath, and especially the drive-through, when right now we're seeing trends to smaller footprint, smaller staff, and a faster type of transaction cycle. Is that something that came out of the pandemic, or were you guys kind of planning that ahead of the pandemic?
Actually, believe it or not, we actually did it before the pandemic. We were looking at the space, and then we opened up in February of 2020, right before everything happened. And it was just we both knew that there was a drive-through fast style restaurant missing in the area, and stuff. There are some other drive-through restaurants here in McCall, but they cater to a lot of other different things, like pizzas and burgers and so on. But this is the true drive-through restaurant. We used to finish work, me and my partner Devin on that project. We would finish work and it's like, oh God, I'm so hungry. All I want is a burger, and it's just like, so now we created that for, not for ourselves, but for everybody, and because it was missing.
Right. So is that kind of a way that you guys are heading with your continued culinary expansion, or are you going to continue to do drive-through, good food fast, if I may?
Yes, absolutely. That's what we call it. Is gourmet fast food. Really, is what the tagline for that restaurant is. It's really really great food done really fast, and we try to make that turn within about 5 to 6 minutes. At the drive-through window. So it's pretty fast for what you're doing, especially like I said, we're using elk and bison and stuff like that. So it makes it interesting. It's a really really cool fun project,
Oh,
and stuff.
totally.
But
Totally.
yeah, that was.
I
I
mean,
was gonna
what are some of the hacks? Like, I know that operators out there are going to be like, okay, well, really, really good food takes a long time, but you're doing it fast. What are some of the things, some of the efficiencies that you found to make good food fast? Connect those dots.
Yeah, it's all about portioning. It's like, having all your burgers. Like when we first opened, we are like, okay, cool, let's just do the press burger down. We make them into little balls, and then
Yeah.
kind of flatten them down, on the flat top. But now we found that took too long because like, that was getting into that, the 8 to 10 minute line, which we didn't want. So we found to actually pre-portion all our patties, to have them already done. So that was really, really smart to have that done. We portion all our sauces and everything in advance. We make our own fry sauce. We make all our own sauces. We make a huckleberry barbecue sauce that goes with one of our burgers. It's just amazing. So we portion all that stuff in advance instead of we were doing it to order to start with, trying to be smart, but then, just the volume is just crazy. So now we portion everything out, and it just makes life so much easier. And we have headsets, and we have 2 terminals to bring in tickets to make it faster. And
cool.
We actually have people go outside to the cars and take orders from the cars as well, which is really nice, to try and help speed up that whole process, instead of waiting to get to the drive-through window.
So you're using some tech, like, is there a special POS that you guys use? Do you have some screens, or how does all that work?
No, it is. So it's all basically a true drive-through. Like, you come up to the screen and you order for a speaker, and then the servers punch it in for we use a Toast as our POS system.
Oh, cool.
Really, really good, really modern. And we do a lot of online ordering as well, and takeout. It's just so much easier, really modern and fast, and it tracks everything for us, which is great.
Cool. I mean, the restaurant technology of today. Looking at all these POS systems, it's capabilities that we just dreamed of having even just 10 years ago, and now that it's all standard. It's really amazing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So, we really love food at Shamrock. We're a food company. Let's talk about what's trending, what's coming up for let's talk about 2022. What are some of the trends? We've seen some dishes that have trended and kind of come and gone. What are you seeing for 2022?
Well, I definitely think like Mediterranean food. People are looking for something different now. I mean, they've been kept inside, and now they're unleashed. And we've personally found at our Ragazza del Lago restaurant here in McCall, the Mediterranean. So we mostly feature Spanish food, and it's really, really fun. So Spanish, Italian, and Greek. And people, they just want exciting flavors. I think that's definitely a trend. People are tired of seeing the same thing here and there. And so it's really fun to we make paellas, and we do Spanish flavored pork, and things like that. But people, when they say, oh my gosh, what a diverse menu, and really, really fun. And our wines, we're trying to research wines from different areas, like from Israel, from Lebanon, and we have Spanish, Greek, and French and Italian wines as well. But it's just really fun to try and find an Israeli wine. How often do you find one of those?
Right. Wine was created in that region, the cradle of civilization. So I'm sure there's some good stuff out there. It's just getting it here and aligning it with the palate of an American may be challenging at times. Well, let's real quick just take a break and acknowledge that if you're just joining us, welcome to the show. I'm here chatting with Chef Steven Topple. If you're able to, or you have a question or a comment, please type in below the stream here, and we'll be able to see that pop up. We will get back to you. Even if we don't get to it, I will get back to it later. We're having a good conversation about menu and about the flavors of 2022. Let's talk about something else that's on everybody's mind right now, and that's staffing. Now, if you can't find the ideal candidate, can you make the ideal candidate?
Gosh, I wish I could. I wish I could clone myself 10 times over. It'll be really fun. But, basically, I'm struggling with staffing. It's just a nightmare, it really is. I'm actually working the line every single night right now because it's just, so I'm running the saute station at my restaurant in McCall just because we don't have the staff. It's so my problem is it's basically it's a double factor. Is I don't have any employees. I don't have employee housing. Housing is definitely a really big challenge, and the employee wage is really has risen, so there's a trifactor really, it's just you have to be competitive. You've got to be, offer some sort of housing. I have employees that live with me, which is crazy because where else are they going to stay? So I've got 2 employees that live with me because, like I say, where are they going to go? So there's the factor of that you can go work down at the local burger restaurant and make $20 an hour, and but I offer benefits, and so we offer lots of really cool fun things to try and make people stay with us, and it's the long-term employee is what I'm looking for, somebody that's going to stay with us for a long time for the retention.
Well, you are offering something that's really special. And I think, don't look past that. And to the chefs that are watching this right now, don't look past that. And Escoffier always looked at his restaurant as a school, right? So we talked before about mentorship, and you studied under Wolfgang Puck, and I'm sure you've studied other chefs. What does mentorship mean to you, and how could that potentially be a solve for today's labor?
Absolutely, it's huge. It's just like we're working with local community colleges. I know that a lot of other chefs are doing that. It's really important to me. Like I personally, I've had so many students come from from culinary schools and work with me, and they become sous chefs, executive chefs themselves. Now in the industry. But for me, mentorship is so important. I have people that work for me. I'm happy to take them under my wing and show them how to do everything. We start on the salad station, work our way up to the grill station, fryer, and so on. We've got 4 restaurants, so it's really fun. You can whatever you want to do. You want to do fast casual, you want to do more of a fine dining Italian restaurant, like more casual. We have lots of different options, and so I definitely take them under my wing, and that's so important is the mentorship of that. And I think I've proven that with some. Throughout my whole career, we're having different people work for me, and they still stay in touch with me, which is great.
That's awesome. And with the cost of college and secondary education going just out of control, I think that mentorship and internship and some of these things are going to be more important than ever. So I'm so happy that you're leading the charge on that, and you're getting in touch with the culinary schools. I think it's missed by so many operators that are looking for staff, and then they're right down the street from a culinary school where there's potentially hundreds of hungry young students that may be a little confident. Maybe you need to bring out some Gordon Ramsay and knock them down a little bit, but then build them back up.
Right. No, absolutely. A lot of, it's the joke, it's like, a lot of students come out from these culinary schools and think that they're a sous chef right off the bat, and it's just, that's not the case. You've got to work in the industry for a long time and, get the experience. It comes, 2 or 3, 4 years, and stuff like that. Then you're ready for a sous chef level. It's like, for me, that's the biggest thing is it's like, there's so much to learn in the kitchens and restaurants. It's even hotels and resorts. That's what I spent a lot of my time doing, was working in resorts, like, in Vail and working here in McCall, at the Shore Lodge and stuff. It's a really fun experience to work in multiple kitchens, and you get to go work a banquet for 200 people. The next day you do a business lunch for 10 people. It's so all over the place. Good experience.
Sure. And just because you're a good chef means you prepare fantastic food, but also as being a chef owner that you've got to also have some managerial and entrepreneurial skills too. I mean, where did you learn all of that stuff from, especially in the resorts, right, where it's a business?
Yeah, absolutely. It's incredibly tough. It's like I've definitely been through some really tough, CFOs and stuff like that. They're always crunching numbers and stuff like that. So I've learned a lot of experience with that. I've been an executive chef now for probably close to 16 to 18 years, and so all the experience I've worked everywhere I've worked, like you always, like you said earlier, it's like wherever you work, you always gain some sort of knowledge and experience and how not to do things and how to do things. And, like food costs is like one of the biggest things for me is like, if your food cost is out of control, it's spiraling. The same with labor costs, you got to have your costs in line. It's so important to do that. And then, I know me and you were having a backstory before it started, talking about inflation of cost of food and things like that. It's just outrageous right now. You're talking 30-40% increases on cost of food, and trying to get that across to a customer, that's the hardest thing for me. Is it's like, right, it's like they were here 2 weeks ago and the price of the tenderloin was $28. Now it's gone up to like $32. I have to charge that because that's what the cost is rising. It's just like on buying product, and it's outrageous. But having customers to understand that, that's where it's really hard. It's like, well, why is it's just so expensive there now? That's a problem.
Well, it's so funny because those same customers, they go to the gas pump,
mm-hmm.
They go to the grocery store, they go to other restaurants, and the price just goes up like crazy, and you don't just stop going to the gas station. But they can be tough on you. you were talking about that filet dish, right? That you had that at 28 bucks, and you had to push the price. Is price the only thing you look at when you're trying to increase profitability?
No, I mean, there's lots of things, right? There's labor, there's the overheads of the restaurant as well, and that's what people don't understand. It's like, there's so much more to a restaurant, right? There's labor costs, there's food costs, there's the overheads, there's very, very minimal profit in restaurants. We don't make much money. It's been, this last year and a half has been such a challenge. I can tell you, it's just like I've learned so much personally. Like, I do all my own books and everything like that. I have a ledger for each restaurant, and I write down, like, all the money that comes in, all the money that goes out, regardless, or to all the food purveyors and wine, everything like that. I'm responsible for all of that. So I like to know that. I don't hire somebody that does all my bookkeeping for me. I have somebody that finishes it all off for me and files it and everything for me. But I do all that myself, so I know exactly. I can tell you where we are with each restaurant, and so I know those costs, and it's very raw. It's in your face, a lot of it. So that's why it's important to really cost out your menu items. It's like, it's not a joke anymore. It's like, you've got to, to take your price of all the, whatever beef tenderloin is right now, it's up to $19.59 a pound or something like that, which is just for choice, and that's expensive. When it used to be $12 a pound, you can tell the difference in chicken, and everything's just risen so much.
Well, yeah, and one last thing on the inflation. I mean, it feels significant right now because it is so high. But you've been an executive chef for so long now. You see that it's just about every summer, right? So
exactly, yep. July 4th, everything raises up between now and July 4th, and then it does start to come down a little bit after July 4th. But but it's yeah.
Is that how you change your menus? Annually or biannually?
No, we're very, 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 very seasonal, and stuff like that. So, the supply chain right now is just so messed up as well. It's just like, it's really hard to get lots of things. It's a challenge to find. If you find something, wine is one of the biggest things I'm challenged with right now. Is it's like, we import a lot of Italian and French and Spanish wines and stuff like that, and we can't get those wines. Because of the container crisis, there's the container ships in the ports and stuff. There's just not enough coming into the country, and then getting the fuel shortage that was on the East Coast. We can't get it across across to Idaho, and there's just so many things. It's just like, it's a real challenge for restaurateurs. It's just not easy. It's like, I am the sommelier as well, so I taste all the wines with all my suppliers and stuff like that. We sit down and taste stuff, and then it's like 2 weeks later, it's like, well, we went through like 8 cases of that, and now we have to change it again. I'm like, oh my gosh. But it's kind of fun to taste new wines every so often, right? But
yeah, I wouldn't mind the wine tasting right now if you got something we should get into. But
right, yeah. So no, the supply chain is just really hard right now. Everything is a struggle. Getting gloves. I mean, like, that's my biggest concern is like, is we have to wear gloves in the kitchen, but
right.
they were $40-$60 a case, and then now they're up to like $180 a case, for gloves, which we have to have as a requirement of the health departments, and so on. So it's such a challenge.
Well, all along the supply chain, there's something that's inflating, and every single facet of life right now is struggling with labor. So, like you were talking about the wine, the people that pick the grapes are not as easily available, or they're more expensive, and the people that ship it and all these hands that touch it are either short or expensive, which in the long run leads to inflation.
Yep.
Or maybe, and then hopefully it doesn't last as steep as it's been, because if you guys are listening out there, Chef Topple is raising prices and modifying his menu so that he's looking out for profitability. You're operating on narrow margins out there. Don't operate on an even more narrow margin, or God forbid, take a loss on anything, because what you do is valuable. The experience is what the post-COVID consumer is looking for. Bolster that and provide what you need, and also provide for what you need at home. So, Chef, it sounds like you wear a lot of hats. Tell me a little bit about how you look out for you. What do you do for self-care?
Well, I've got two amazing Springer Spaniels. They're just absolutely incredible dogs. I look forward to going home and seeing them. You know, that's really, really important to me
We were
because, like,
talking pets right before you got on. That's
yeah.
so funny you say that.
Yeah, no, I've got Lucy and Jack. They're my two Springer Spaniels. A lot of my friends know them, and they're just absolutely amazing. You know, amazing dogs. And being here in Idaho, you know, Idaho is just such a special place. It really is. And like people don't realize how they think of Idaho as being like, you know, just flat potato kind of country and stuff like that. It's quite the opposite of that. You know, it's really spectacular mountains, the ski resorts nearby, lakes. I mean, like we back right onto a lake, and it's just a stunning, stunning community. And it's just so I like going out for hikes and stuff like that, and like, you know, going on the lake, you know, people will say, "Oh, chef, do you want to come join us on the lake?" And say they know I'm going to bring some good food, you know, to go on to go on like a pontoon boat, you know, and just cruise around the lake. It's just so relaxing. That to me is you need the relaxing time. It is really important. It's hard right now for me. I got to say, you know, I've been working a lot, and you know, like I say, I'm working a station right now, but and I run 4 restaurants. I do all the books for all of those, and running around between them all. It's you know, definitely doing a lot of FaceTime and in the car, you know, and stuff like that, where I'm you know, windscreen time they call it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you know, so that's your advice, I think, is if you're wearing a lot of hats, take care of yourself, have some wine tastings, and find a friend with a boat. You heard it here. You got to have a friend with a boat so you can get your escape. So you were talking about seasonal menus. What's on the menu? What are you kicking around right now that's exciting that we could talk
Yeah,
about?
oh my gosh, like just some incredible seafood, you know, stuff like that right now. Seafood and wild game are kind of my specialties. I really enjoyed that a lot. I just butchered some halibut right now that just came in today. That was just well, not butchered, but I filleted it and portioned it, I guess is the correct terminology.
I just
But
hacked
it's
it all apart.
yeah, no, exactly. But it's just absolutely the best halibut I think I've ever seen. It's just so
Wow.
fresh and so in season right now, and plentiful. Is like, you know, everybody always talks about the halibut crisis. You know, how much there isn't enough, and it's overfished and stuff like that. But there's just some beautiful halibut, really, really nice. So that we're featuring that tonight as a special. You know, we like I say, we're really trying to focus on the Mediterranean style food here, which is kind of fun. There's nobody does that around this area. And that's the reason why I opened Italian restaurants, because like, you know, there was no I look at an area and say to myself, it's like, okay, there is no Italian restaurants here. That, you know, there's no fast food restaurant here, and that's the reason why I kind of focused on. I zoomed in on those things, and that's the reason why, you know, it's really important. My restaurant in Caldwell, which is like west of Boise, and it's just absolutely beautiful place. It's about 30 miles away from Boise. Just a really beautiful location. People are moving away from Boise and going to Caldwell, and that's one of the reasons why I kind of went to the area, just because it's a new. People are moving from California. People are coming from Seattle. Idaho is one of the fastest growing states right now in the United States, which is really cool, you know.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you about advice that you had for operators right now, but I think there is an underlying tone of advice that was given without you even saying it, and I'm going to bring it to light, is that you were talking about where you placed your restaurants, and you looked so far downfield, which is an entrepreneurial function. You are managing your numbers. You're paying attention to plate costs. You're looking at your P&Ls. That's a managerial function, which is another level. And then we're talking about specials, fish, wine, all of these different things, which is a technical function. It's so cool that you're able to be the technician, the manager, the entrepreneur, all in one. I think everybody watching, including Dan that just said, great to see ya. Dan Gumber's chiming in over here. He says hello. That everybody should pay attention to the way that Steven just effortlessly moves through all of the different levels of a business owner so successfully. But I kind of teed it up, and so I have to ask you now, what's one piece of advice that you would give to operators out there?
Yeah, honestly, it's just really watch your costs and have fun and enjoy what you do. I mean, like, you know, I get the biggest thrill out of cooking, you know, and going out and seeing the customer's smiling face. And, you know, I walk around, talk to the customers in the dining room, and there's so many bits of advice I can give to people where it's just like, it's tough. It's you got to enjoy what you got, look after the staff you have, and, you know, cherish every one of them, you know, and it's just like, you really do. It's a special bond that you have to have with your employees. And, you know, gosh, I could go on with a thousand things, you know.
Well, and you nailed it with cherish. Cherish your
Yeah.
ingredients, cherish your customers, cherish your coworkers or mentorees, your prodigies,
Yeah.
and cherish your life. Go out and enjoy a glass of wine and some food on your friend's boat, not your own.
Right. Exactly.
Awesome. Well, it's been awesome talking to you, Chef. Thank you again so much for coming on the show. And thank you, everyone out there. Dan is the only one that chimed in, so I'm thanking Dan specifically today for joining Shamrock Foods Kitchen Conversations. Thanks again, Chef. Best of luck. I'm hoping to get up there. I think it's 110 out here today, and I'd love to come up and enjoy your restaurant at the lake and maybe just take a dip because I'm sitting here sweating.
Right. Yeah, it's about 89 degrees today, so it's beautiful. And there's a little breeze going as well, so it's good, you know.
Well, soon enough. I think if I keep asking on these shows that somewhere out in Shamrock Land they'll fly me up to say hello in person.
Right.
Well, thanks again, Chef. And remember, today's show is brought to you by Marcon. Marcon brings a fresh approach and fresh thinking to all of their premium farm-to-table products so that you can bring the freshest ideas to your customers. We hope you all enjoyed the show today. Keep the comments coming. It's just Dan. He's just gonna say hello. Everybody's being shy with me today. We got hammered last time. They were asking some hard-hitting questions. Well, it's awesome. Thanks again, Chef. And we'll see you guys all next time on Kitchen Conversations.